My poll numbers are up since the very boring, record-setting low, the ratings that is, they were low ratings, debate that everybody wanted me to do, and now they said it was brilliant that you didn't do it. Leading by big numbers, we are leading by numbers like nobody's led before. I made the right decision, and we broke all records with the Tucker Carlson interview. We had 261 million people watching, whereas the debate only had 11 million people. That was a record low. So we had a record high and a record low. And it was a lot of fun, and congratulations to Tucker Carlson. Great job. Crooked Joe Biden is totally controlled by China, Ukraine, and various other countries. They know everything about him, all of his misdeeds, and there are many. He's a corrupt person. He's a compromised president who is leading our country to hell. In the true sense, and I don't know if you know what this means, he is a Manchurian candidate. Trust me on that, it's not good. Crooked Joe Biden's only campaign strategy is indicting me. That's all they can do. Keep indicting him on nonsense. Going on extended vacations and sleep, sleep, sleep. That's what he wants to do. He wants to sleep and he wants to go to the beach and sleep. He thinks he looks good in a bathing suit. He doesn't. We were leaving Afghanistan with dignity and strength. Biden left in shame and defeat. A defeat like this country has never suffered before. I defeated 100% of the ISIS caliphate. Everyone said that couldn't be done, and I did it in a matter of weeks. We have great generals, we have great military, but not the people you see on television. All other presidents failed. After 20 years, they failed. They worked so hard. They thought so hard. They didn't know what they were doing. All of the presidents before me failed. For 20 years, I defeated ISIS in just a matter of weeks. Thank you. This month marks the 2-year anniversary of the most embarrassing event in the history of our country, Joe Biden's disastrous surrender in Afghanistan. This was one of the horrible, horrible events in our country's past, leaving thousands and thousands of Americans behind. We don't even know the number. 13 dead warriors, hundreds of civilians killed and horribly wounded, including soldiers beyond the 13 soldiers that were so badly wounded. And $85 billion worth of the finest military equipment anywhere in the world abandoned, handed over, call it what you want, to the Taliban. It was a surrender. Never before has there been such an egregious display of incompetence and weakness on the world stage. You don't bring the soldiers out first, you bring the soldiers out last, Joe. Ever since that horrendous event, the United States and the world have been paying a very steep price. Russia took one look at Joe Biden's impotent and pathetic performance and decided to invade Ukraine. He would have never done it while I was president. Wouldn't have happened. China is now threatening Taiwan. Iran is on the cusp of a nuclear bomb, and American allies around the globe are doubting American strength and cozying up to the Chinese Communist Party. It's impossible to overstate the scale of the military, diplomatic, and geopolitical disaster created by Joe Biden's Afghanistan catastrophe. History will be very harsh on Crooked Joe for a lot of reasons, but this is one of them. What is needed now is a decisive and rapid return to unquestioned, undoubted, and unrivaled American power and prestige. We had that when I was president. When I was president, we were the most respected country in the world, more respected than America ever was. Under my leadership, we were getting out of Afghanistan, but we were getting out with dignity and strength. We were strong and powerful, and everybody respected us, including the Taliban. When I return to the Oval Office, you will once again have an America that is feared by our enemies, trusted by our allies, and respected by everyone. All over the world, no matter who it is, they're going to respect us again. They will respect us again, and we will make America great again, and we will also put America first. We will restore peace through strength. That's the way it has to be. Thank you very much. What's happening to our auto workers is an absolute disgrace and an outrage beyond belief. Auto workers are getting totally ripped off by Crooked Joe Biden and also their horrendous leadership, because these people are allowing our country to do these electric vehicles that very few people want. And it's a mandate, so you'll ultimately be forced to drive in a car that goes for an hour and then you have to have it recharged. I hope you don't want to go very far away. Biden has imposed the outlandish requirement that 67% of all new vehicles must be electric in less than 10 years. That means Michigan and places that make cars, you can forget about it. You better get your union working because you can forget about it. Those cars are all going to be made in China. According to the UAW president himself, one auto company CEO used the word brutality over 40 times in a single conversation to describe Joe Biden. I call him Crooked Joe because he's the most corrupt president in history. He's also the most incompetent. But Joe Biden's cruel and foolish electric vehicle mandate, that's how bad this policy is. Your union heads know it, but the union bosses don't want to do anything about it because they're not leaders. But you know who's voting for me? The people in the union. Yeah, the union heads and the Crooked Joe keep using the phrase fair transition. There's no fair transition. First of all, people don't want the electric car, and the ones that want it should get it. But we want to have all forms of transportation and all forms of motorization to describe this unnecessary forced transition to electric vehicles. But there's no such thing as fair transition that destroys over 100,000 auto manufacturing jobs. It'll be much more than that. Wastes tens of billions of dollars that should be going to the workers and makes new cars entirely unaffordable for the middle class. That's a transition to hell. You're going to hell, and your bosses are leading you right down the tubes. You shouldn't pay your fees. They get these big fees from all of their workers, and it doesn't matter how bad they are, they'll endorse a Democrat, even though the Democrat's selling you down the tubes. Both the UAW bosses and the big three auto executives should be screaming at the top of their lungs. They should be ashamed of themselves, demanding that Joe Biden cancel his brutal electric vehicle mandate before it destroys the entire U.S. auto sector. If the union bosses and the CEOs refuse to fight back against Crooked Joe Biden by forcing him to repeal this disastrous electric car scheme, then you will know they're not pro-worker. They're not on your side. They've got some deals going for themselves. And I'm telling you, you shouldn't pay those dues. You should not pay your dues because they're selling you to hell. You're going to be going to hell. You're not going to have any jobs. All those cars are going to be made in China. Every one of them. You can forget it, Michigan. You can forget it, South Carolina. You can forget it, everybody. All of those cars are going to be made in China. We sit on liquid gold, and we're getting rid of combustion engines, and they sit on all of the other materials that you need for the batteries. They're going to make all those cars. We're not going to make any of them. So to every auto worker, I stand in total solidarity with you in your fight against Joe Biden's job-killing Green New Deal insanity. It's insanity. When I am your president, I will deliver higher wages for auto workers. I will protect your jobs. I will end Joe Biden's catastrophic electric vehicle mandate. And by the way, if you want an electric car, you're going to get it. But you're going to be able to get all other types of cars, types of vehicles that you want. And on day one, you're going to be back in business with me, and those factories are going to start opening up again. Remember, when I got elected, I told you all about this in the campaign. And when I got elected, hardly a car company built outside of this country. I stopped it. They didn't go to Mexico anymore. I said, if you go to Mexico, I'm putting a big tariff. You'll make a car, you're going to have a 25% tariff if you send that car back into the United States. I stopped it. Well, right now they're doing it again, worse than ever before. We lost 32% of our industry to Mexico prior to my getting there, and we lost almost nothing. Nothing. In fact, we were taking back our industry. But now it's going again. I'll straighten it out. But you have to vote for Trump. You have to vote for Trump. You can't listen to these union guys that get paid a lot of money and they get wined and dined in Washington. They know that electric cars are no good in terms of our workers. So vote for Republicans, but vote for Trump. Because if we don't win this election, our country, not only in terms of auto workers, our country will go to hell. Thank you very much. The left-wing lunatics are trying very hard to bring back COVID lockdowns and mandates with all of their sudden fear-mongering about the new variants that are coming. Gee whiz, you know what else is coming? An election. They want to restart the COVID hysteria so they can justify more lockdowns, more censorship, more illegal drop boxes, more mail-in ballots, and trillions of dollars in payoffs to their political allies heading into the 2024 election. Does that sound familiar? These are bad people. These are sick people we're dealing with. But to every COVID tyrant who wants to take away our freedom, hear these words: we will not comply. So don't even think about it. We will not shut down our schools. We will not accept your lockdowns. We will not abide by your mask mandates. And we will not tolerate your vaccine mandates. They rigged the 2020 election, and now they're trying to do the same thing all over again by rigging the most important election in the history of our country, the 2024 election, even if it means trying to bring back COVID. But they will fail because we will not let it happen. When I'm back in the White House, I will use every available authority to cut federal funding to any school, college, airline, or public transportation system that imposes a mask mandate or a vaccine mandate. Thank you very much. Every young American deserves to know that they are the heirs to an incredible history given to us by a legion of true American heroes. Individuals like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Betsy Ross, Frederick Douglass, Abraham Lincoln, Harriet Tubman, Susan B. Anthony, Teddy Roosevelt, Generals George Patton, Douglas MacArthur, we could use them now, and countless other legends, patriots, and giants of American history. Yet we are also a people whose heroes lived not only in the past, but all around us today, including the men and women of the United States military, our law enforcement, and our first responders, who are all willing to lay down their lives so that we can have safety, peace, freedom, and life. The stories of our great American heroes remind us what our country is all about and how each one is capable of achieving this great thing that we all want to do. We want to have an incredible, successful life. We want to be also great patriots and strength for our nations. Our heroes inspire us to make America great again. We will give every young American the chance to know our remarkable heroes, to love this country, and to learn that the story of America unites us and makes us stronger and free. Thank you very much. Under crooked Joe Biden, our country is going through some very difficult times. The rule of law is being destroyed, and the justice system is being wielded as a weapon against Joe Biden's political opponents, me primarily. Over the past few months, I've heard from countless Americans who are deeply disturbed by these appalling political persecutions and attacks. I want to say to you today, do not despair and do not lose hope. Every injustice they throw at us, every hoax, witch hunt, and abuse of power must only harden our will and steel to resolve to save our nation. This is the nation we love. We will save it. We will not let this happen. Our vindication will come on Election Day 2024. We will take back power from these lunatic, sick, and sinister people. We will expose their corruption for history to see, and justice will be done. So keep on fighting and turn all of our frustration and your frustration and energy into determination to achieve an epic victory in November 2024. Nothing is more important. This will be the most important election in the history of our country. Our country is going bad. Our country is going into a communist state. And we can't let that happen. We will make America great again. We cannot let anything happen to this precious country of ours. Thank you very much. I want to thank you very much to the people of Atlanta, Georgia. I love Atlanta. Love Georgia. We did great in Georgia, much better than people understand, for coming out and showering us with support. We're going through some tough times as a country right now. Our country's going bad. We're a failing nation, but the love was incredible because they want to bring our country back. Whether it's African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, men, women, highly educated people, people without a diploma. They want to bring our country back like we had it. In particular, I want to thank the communities of Washington Park, Vine City, and Bankhead. the people understand that this is a political persecution. It's a travesty of justice, but we are not going to let them stop us. We're not going to let them at all. These are people that hate our country. We're going to make America great again for all Americans. Thank you very much. Wow, a big win in Georgia for President Trump. Georgia, which is absolutely a Republican state, I have no doubt about it, just bad things happen, is showing up big. They demand accountability and demand it now. So sad what has happened to one of the greatest places on earth, but we will win in 2024. Georgia will lead the way. I believe Georgia is going to lead the way, and we will make America great again. We have to take back our country. 2024, the most important election maybe that this country has ever had, because our country is going bad. We're a failing nation. Georgia is going to lead the way. You watch. Thank you very much. Please realize that all of these indictments and lawsuits against me are conceived and run by radical left Democrats, the same lunatics that are destroying our country. The indictments and litigation are highly partisan election interference. Now we're in a partially corrupt system of justice. We call it a system of justice. It's really a system of injustice, filled up with Marxists, fascists, communists, and radical left Democrats. But also, it has great American patriots who see what is happening to our country, who see that our country is going bad, is going communist, and they're not going to allow it to continue to happen. They're going to stop it. These are the most important people right now in the history of our country. We will win. We will bring back America. We will make America great again. Thank you very much. These indictments and lawsuits are all part of my political opponent's campaign plan. It is election interference, and they are going to use the DOJ and the FBI to help them, which is totally illegal. It's what happened before. You remember the FBI and Twitter? They call it Twitter files, and so much more. Crooked Joe pushed this litigation hard to get it done. He wanted to get it done and get it done as fast because he can't put two sentences together. This is a new low in presidential politics. To the Democrats, I say, be careful what you wish for. Deranged Jack Smith and his team of thugs who were caught going to the White House just prior to indicting the 45th President of the United States, me. And by the way, that's an absolute no-no. You're not allowed to do that. Can't go into the White House and then indict, because it shows how corrupt they are. They've been working on this witch hunt for almost 3 years, but decided to bring it not 2 years ago, not 1 year ago, but smack in the middle of crooked Joe Biden's political opponent's campaign. So they waited for 3 years, and then they decide to bring it right in the middle of my campaign, where we're leading Joe Biden and all the Republicans also by a lot. It's called election interference. Today, a biased, Trump-hating judge gave me only a 2-month extension. They worked for 3 years. Just what our corrupt government wanted. That's what they wanted. It comes out the day before Super Tuesday. You know what Super Tuesday is? Super Tuesday is the most important day, most important primary day. It's a big percentage of the vote. So the judge said you have to start the day before Super Tuesday. We will appeal, and we will win that appeal. How do you have an indictment that is based almost entirely on the findings of the January 6th unselect committee of Marxists, fascists, and political hacks, when the same lowlifes who have been caught lying for years about Russia, 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 Ukraine, 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 FISA, the fake dossier, and much, much more, purposely and illegally destroyed and deleted all of the evidence, findings, and proof of the January 6th committee. I bet you didn't know that. It just came out. They took all of those findings. They worked on it for more than a year, and many of those findings were great for us, and they destroyed all of the findings. They deleted everything, which is totally illegal, and that should end the case immediately. Can you imagine? They took it and threw it out. When will deranged Jack Smith criminally charge the committee? Because what the committee did is absolutely criminal. I call them unselect because they're unselect people. They are terrible people. They have taken all of the evidence and destroyed it. And you're not allowed to do that. Thank you very much. It has just been reported that aides to Trump prosecutor, deranged Jack Smith, he is a deranged person, met with high officials at the White House just prior to these political sleazebags indicting me over nothing. If this is so, which it is because we have proof, that means that Biden and his fascist thugs knew and approved of the country's dividing form of election interference. In other words, they knew exactly what was happening with respect to the raid on Mar-a-Lago, with respect to the indictment of Donald Trump, the president, the former president, despite their insisting that they knew nothing. Biden said, I know nothing about it, but he also said that about Hunter's business, that he knew nothing about it. Now he ended up lying. He said they knew nothing about Russia, Ukraine, knew nothing about anything, and it was all a big lie. But he knew all about the indictment, and he knew all about the raid on Mar-a-Lago, which was a disgrace. Never happened a thing like that before. Our country is going communist. Our country is going far beyond socialist. It's fascist. It's Marxist. It's horrible what's happening to America. America is no longer America. But we're going to make our country great again. We're going to make it bigger and better and stronger than ever before. Thank you very much. Fox News and the Wall Street Journal fight me because Murdoch is a globalist. That's right, Rupert Murdoch is a globalist. You don't know that? And I am America first. It's very simple. I put America first. It will always be that way, so get used to it. The Sanctimonious, by the way, is done. He was a Murdoch pick, just like Jeb Bush was a Murdoch pick. How did that work out? Just like Hillary Clinton. Murdoch liked Hillary Clinton, crooked Hillary. And that was another pick of Murdoch. No, we are about America first, and some people don't like that. The Wall Street Journal has totally lost its way. They say anything that happens to come to mind. They pushed the Sanctimonious so hard, and now they're looking for somebody else because he's failed. He's fallen like a rock. He's fallen like a very badly injured bird out of the sky. But I just want to thank everybody for the tremendous support you've given me. We're leading in the polls by 50 and 60 points, and we're beating Biden by 5, 6, 7, 11. We have a lot of great polls with Biden. The guy can't put two sentences together. How can he win? So thank you all very much. Remember all of the fake news reporting that was done saying that crooked Joe Biden was fully cooperating, 100% always cooperating with the special counsel, Robert Hur, concerning the thousands and thousands of documents that Joe took out of the White House. Well, that turned out to be a big lie. He wasn't cooperating at all. They can't even set up a meeting. Biden is being totally impossible. You can't deal with him. He's mentally gone anyway, but you can't deal with him. But I'm not. I even gave them openly and freely security tapes, and I come under the Presidential Records Act. Joe doesn't. It's all about election interference. This whole thing is about election interference. They're trying to steal the election by interfering with the campaign, and we are not going to let that happen. Because if we don't win in 2024, our country is done. The security tapes from Mar-a-Lago that evil and sinister prosecutor, deranged Jack Smith, leaked or otherwise stated were deleted or altered were in fact not deleted or altered at all. In fact, I didn't even have to give them. These are my tapes. I gave them openly and freely. It was a fake story put out by these government thugs. That's what they are. They're government thugs. They're bad people. Those tapes were openly handed over without protest or litigation. I didn't have to do that. And then the deranged one, Jack Smith, makes me look as bad as possible by leaking fake stories about we altered the tapes. No, they now admit the tapes were not altered. The whole case is fake because I come under the Presidential Records Act. Biden and Mike Pence don't. They don't. It's a different kind of a problem. But Joe Biden has documents from when he was a senator. You can't do it. It's an impossible. These are classified documents. He's not allowed. But I have the Presidential Records Act, and it was developed and approved by Congress exactly for this purpose. The whole thing is a fake charade. The one who is liable and very responsible is crooked Joe Biden, the most crooked, the most corrupt president, the most incompetent president in the history of our country. Thank you very much. America is becoming a banana republic. That's what happens when you indict and prosecute your political opponent. These are dark days in the life of America, but we're going to turn it around and make our country great again. Wow, my interview with Tucker Carlson has turned out to be the single most watched video and interview in the history of the world, I guess. Such a great honor to have participated. 262 million views and counting, more than doubling the longtime reigning champ, the Oprah Winfrey interview of Michael Jackson. So I want to congratulate Tucker, and I want to thank everyone. Thank you very much. The debate on Fox News had a hard time with the proverbial ratings. You know what television ratings are. It's all about the ratings. It was one of the lowest ever rated in terms of debates, if not the lowest. It showed that many of those participating are second tier. They were second tier people, people like Christie and people like Ada, I call him Ada Hutchinson, and merely pretenders to the throne. They're just pretenders to the throne. These aren't presidential people. These aren't presidential talents. Some of the answers were so bad, with delivery even worse. The numbers were less than half of what they were in a debate that I happened to participate on 2016. Not a good way to start the fight against crooked Joe Biden and his absolute lunatic thugs. We will not let this country suffer anymore under the reign of a man that can't put two sentences together. Crooked Joe Biden. He's the worst president in the history of our country. He's the most corrupt president. And frankly, he's the most incompetent president. We will win in 2024. We're going to make our country great again. Thank you very much. Why is there so much murder? I mean murder in Atlanta. Why is there so much violent crime in Atlanta? People are afraid to go outside to buy a loaf of bread. One big reason is that failed district attorney Fannie Willis, who is campaigning and fundraising off Get Trump. We're going to get Trump. Not the murderers. We're going to get Trump. And he's like, frankly, she's like others that are also in her position. They let the criminals go and they want to get Trump. They want to see if they can get some extra votes. But she doesn't have the time, the money, or the interest to go after the real criminals or the murderers, the really violent ones that are destroying Atlanta, a place I love, and destroying our country. This once beautiful, beautiful culture of ours, this way of life that was so incredible. She is a disaster for Atlanta. She's a disaster for the great state of Georgia. And it's a very sad day in America, but we will turn it around and we will make America great again, and we're going to make Atlanta great again. 3 years ago, we had the safest border in history. Built almost 500 miles of wall, got 28,000 soldiers from Mexico free of charge. Today, it is the absolute worst border anywhere in the world. There's nothing close. Millions and millions of people are pouring through our border. They come from prisons and jails. They come from mental institutions and insane asylums. And they're terrorists. They're coming into our country totally unchecked. We have no idea who they are. We will immediately stop that the day I become president. The same day it'll stop. And everybody knows, as soon as I'm elected, they won't even bother coming, because we had the safest border in the history of our country, and now we have the worst border in the history of the world. Thank you very much. These crazy indictments against me should be viewed as campaign contributions to crooked Joe Biden and his radical left thugs. This will be their updated form of cheating and election interference. Remember, these are Biden indictments. They're not pure and simple. They're not coming down from heaven. These are indictments made up by Joe Biden and the people that surround him, mostly the people that surround him. He's got a bad group. They're thugs. They're radical left fascists. They're Marxists. They're communists. They have the worst people. But these people made these indictments. So when they say, oh, Donald Trump is going to court, no. We're going to court to fight a crooked system, a corrupt system. And Democrats better be careful what they wish for, because this kind of thing can happen to them, and it can happen very quickly. Thank you very much. For the first time in 3 years, brave American patriots will be able, in court, to show how the presidential election of 2020 was rigged and stolen. For those rhinos, radical left Democrats, communists, Marxists, fascists, and others who say, don't look back, look forward. They either do not want to reveal the answers because they got away with murder, or are fools and cowards because we know that if we don't find out the reason, it could happen again, and we're not going to let it happen again. All of the fraud, irregularities, and cheating, we cannot ever let a thing like that take place in the United States of America. Thank you very much. We have a Department of Injustice rigging the election for crooked Joe Biden. Unless it is quickly stopped, all future elections will follow the same path. Our country is heading down a very, very dangerous road, and it has to stop. These are very dishonest people we're dealing with. We have to make our country great again. And if our elections are going to be rigged, or if they're going to use weaponization on elections, it's going to be very tough to make it great. We are a nation in decline. We are a nation that is failing, but we will turn it around very quickly. The election of 2024 is the most important election in the history of our country. We have to win, or we won't have a country left. Thank you very much. I easily won the great state of Georgia in 2016, did a fantastic job as president for Georgia and the entire USA, received 10 million more votes than I got nationwide in 2016, got by far the most votes in history for a sitting president, but shockingly lost Georgia. All this despite winning nearby Alabama and South Carolina in record-setting landslides. Why did Georgia officials agree to sign that horrible one-sided consent decree? Nobody to this day has figured that out. Does anybody really believe I lost Georgia? Because I don't. Highly respected Georgia State Senator Colton Moore deserves thanks and congratulations of everyone for having the courage and conviction to fight the radical left lunatics who are so badly hurting the great state of Georgia and, frankly, the USA itself. Failed DA Fannie Willis, who has allowed Atlanta and Fulton County to become a record-setting murder and violent crime war zone with almost no retribution for those murderers, shockingly indicted your favorite president, me, for a perfect phone call. She is very bad for America. She is very bad for Georgia. And the bottom line is we're going to win. We're going to turn our country around. I want to thank the great people of Georgia for putting up with this crap. Thank you very much. I hope that Republican district attorneys and attorney generals throughout the country are closely watching the tremendous weaponization of justice that is being utilized against me. There's never been anything like it. But you ought to watch, and frankly, it's an eye for an eye, or it's fight fire with fire. What they're doing to our country is amazing. So Republicans, I hope you're watching. Why does Fox News constantly put on slow-thinking and lethargic Bill Barr, who didn't have the courage or stamina to fight the radical left lunatics while he was the Attorney General of the United States, and who, even more importantly, refused to fight election fraud, of which there was much? He knew what was going on. Just look at his past remarks. Unless Fox News starts putting on the right people, their ratings will continue to erode. They're down 35% from just a short while ago. That's because people don't want to hear Bill Barr, they don't want to hear Karl Rove, and they don't want to hear Mark Thiessen and some of these people, to put it nicely. They don't want to hear these people. They want to hear the people that are going to turn around our country. They want to hear the people that are going to make America great again. And until they do, Fox will suffer in the ratings. And frankly, it may be too late. Their debate was the lowest rated debate in history. And right opposite the debate, they had the highest rated interview in history. I won't say who participated in that interview because I want to keep things nice and friendly. But Fox News should get on the proper road. It's a road to greatness. It's a road to making America great again and putting America first. And if they do that, they will see their ratings surge again, maybe. But maybe it's too late. Thank you very much.